Carlton in New York. You're on with Jim and Matt. How are you?
Doing good. How about you guys?
Not bad. We're trying to move it at a better pace. So you had a question?
Yes. Before I present my case, I'm new to the Atheist Experience. Am I allowed to ask general questions?
Yeah, I mean, we've got limited time. There's only like 5 or 6 minutes left in the show. So
just keep in mind that every time somebody says that, I immediately think of about half a dozen scripts that theists use. So we may interrupt your script if we think that's what's happening.
Okay.
But go ahead. I want to start off with Bible prophecy, right? I think it's true to a certain extent, such as Matthew chapter 24, where it talks about what looks like basic observations, such as like in the last days, there's going to be earthquakes, wars, rumors of wars, and things like that. And supposedly they get more intense every year. And that's somehow evidence for the last days. I was kind of wondering about you guys' input on that. Sure. Has there ever been a time when there has not been a rumor of war, and has there ever been a time when there have not been earthquakes?
I mean, there's always been earthquakes. So there.
And what is the cause of earthquakes?
Plate tectonics, like.
Yeah, I mean, a geologist would probably has a head exploding right about now with something that simple. But I mean, for lay people, that's a perfectly good explanation for it. So how does plate tectonics come into play with this so-called prophecy that you just read?
The idea behind the prophecy is supposedly the natural disasters grow more intense, and
well, how would earthquakes grow more intense?
Based on, I would like to say how frequent or how strong they are. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, how much the plates move, right? So why would how much the plates move be an answer to the question or to the prophecy? How are these two things related?
Well, if we look at it from a naturalistic standpoint, earthquakes happen because they just do. Where if you're a believer, God supposedly inspires these earthquakes to happen as a result of sin.
Which position has actual testable evidence you can use to prove the position?
Naturalism.
Right. And over the last 1,000 years, which position has been proven to be more correct every single time? Naturalism or God did it?
Naturalism.
All right. So what are and then finally, do we have more war today than we did 100 years or less wars, fewer wars?
Fewer wars.
What does that kind of do to your so-called prophecy? What does all this do to your so-called prophecy?
Ooh. Debunked. Shot down.
Yeah, and we didn't even get to Matt's criteria, the criteria that Matt uses, which has got to be specific and answerable to one set of circumstances. Earthquakes and rumors of war don't do that. I mean, this is just problematic.
Earthquakes
from
are
the
happening
jump.
all the time, every day in countless places. I don't know how many thousands per day. But even amongst wars, I don't know how you would, there's always wars, there's always rumors of wars. And if you were to line them up by death toll, you have wars in the first and second century that had tens of millions of deaths. Then you had medieval wars. The Mongol conquest had 30 to 40 million deaths. And then World War II had 85 million deaths. And that's probably the most of any. But so that's 1939 to 1945. And you keep going after that, and the deaths start declining, and the prevalence of wars start declining. And the way we fight them, it's people have been talking about the end times for the entirety of recorded history. And every single generation has had people who feel that they're living in the end times. And what's funny is the reason it gets to keep going is because every time an end time prediction is wrong, in that same chapter of Matthew that you're pointing to, where it says, no one shall know the day or the time. Anytime they try to make a prediction, they get it wrong. And what this is a strange little curiosity that happens within Christianity, not exclusively, but quite often. And that is, see, look, Harold Camping got it wrong, which proves Matthew 24 was right when it says nobody's going to know the day or the time. And yet they still are convinced we're in the end times. And so setting aside this whole thing about, you need a prophecy that makes a specific testable prediction, even in the vague aspects, as Jim and I just kind of showed, and primarily Jim there, this doesn't get us anywhere. And if in fact the Bible were true and no one's supposed to know when it's going to happen, then it would seem maybe it wouldn't be obvious, and maybe there would be attempts to confuse you so that you'd think it was the time when it wasn't. In which case, in all of those circumstances, seems to me the best thing to do is to get on with your damn life and try to make the world better and stop worrying about whether or not we're in the end times, because that is the one prophecy that you're never, ever, ever going to be able to demonstrate the truth of until it's too late anyway.
Right.
On that note, I got to go because we're out of time. I've got one more caller I want to try to get to just in the last couple minutes after this, and I've got other stuff to do today. But call us back another time, Carlton, because it said here you want to talk about Bible contradictions, and we didn't get to that. So I know you waited a long time. Call us back next week.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.